Good morning, everyone. Today I'm here in a very familiar environment. That's right, I'm here at Glen Smiles Dental Clinic in Glen Waverley. Joining me today is a very familiar face to us all, Dr. Sachin Gamage. Good morning, Dr. Gamage. Lovely to see you again.
Yeah, nice to be here again.
Dr. Gamage, today I'd like to talk about a topic that nearly all of us are familiar with. Toothpaste, toothbrushes, and all things in between that we use to take care of our pearly whites. And I'm curious to know by the end of this segment if there's a particular toothbrush that's better for all of us at home to use, a particular toothpaste that's better, or the right way to take care of our teeth. The first thing I'd like to talk about is the different types of toothbrushes. There's so many available on the market right now. There's your organic ones, there's the electrical ones, there's also your stock standard manual ones. What's your take on all of these different types of toothbrushes?
So for this, there's manual toothbrushes, there's electric toothbrushes, there's different companies and different strengths. Usually it is always beneficial to stick to the mainstream brands. So like Colgate, Oral-B, some of the other ones. There's actually a website called teeth.org.au, I think run by the Australian Dental Association. They have a seal of approval. So there's an ADA seal of approval which people can look up for certain products. So in terms of the brushes, the typical ones are good for most people. If someone has very sensitive teeth, they feel like they're brushing very hard, they can get an extra soft one. In terms of electric toothbrush, there is some evidence to say it's better, it removes plaque better. I think what matters is the technique. So if you're using a manual toothbrush really well, I don't think you necessarily need to go and get an electric toothbrush. But if you're looking at electric toothbrush for an option, there is some benefits of using an electric toothbrush. In terms of electric toothbrush, there's a few good ones. Oral-B is a leader in electric toothbrush, so they have some very good brushes, and the one with the round head is quite good usually. But some of the other ones are also quite good. So yeah.
I see. Now, I'd just like to follow up with that. With using an electric toothbrush, is it appropriate to use on a younger person, or is that more for, after teenage years and for different types of teeth?
Yeah, I think for a child, I don't think you really need it. And in some ways, having a manual one might help them to sort of with the coordination of moving around. But if they want to sort of use a electric one just because they enjoy it, or for the fun of it, you can just get like one of the ones that branded to kids. That's just not so much. They're probably not the same level as the Oral-B one, but you can get that if like your child really wants to have that. Don't think it's essential. But yeah, when you get to like 12 plus 14, 15, you can look at moving to electric toothbrush if you wish. And I think it's also beneficial mainly for adults. One good feature with electric toothbrush is some of them tell you if you're pressing too hard on your teeth. So some people worry that they're brushing too hard. Some of them have like a pressure sensor, so it gives you like a light if you're sort of brushing too hard. So yeah, and sometimes some of the really high-end ones, they can kind of link with your phone, which is not really essential, but they can kind of track like how you've been brushing and things like that. But
yeah, that's remarkable to see how much technology has evolved in terms of dental care. Dr. Gamage, I'm also curious to know a bit about toothpaste. So now when you walk into the the market, or even just your local chemist, there's an overwhelming amount of toothpaste addressed for different things. You'll get your whitening toothpaste, you'll get your whitening and sensitive teeth toothpaste. What's the difference between all of these, and is one more suitable to use than the other?
Yeah, I think most toothpaste, again, like having the typical brands, you're always safer. One thing is most toothpaste have fluoride, and there's some standards in Australia, so they all fit within the standard range. So either they have about 1,450 part per million fluoride, or about 1,000 part per million in the typical sort of toothpaste in Australia. So fluoride is actually very helpful for your teeth, and they help to sort of harden the outer layer of your teeth. In terms of, that's usually good for most people, the general ones. In terms of the whitening toothpaste and other sort of things, if you stick to a Colgate, Oral-B, Sensodyne, those brands, they're usually going to be fine, but I don't think they're necessarily going to improve the whiteness significantly in any way. My concern is when you look at more sort of newer brands or something less known, some of them can be a bit abrasive, so you just have to watch out for that. Like there's little particles inside the toothpaste that help to sort of clean. If they're too rough, they can sort of wear out the teeth. So that's something to be aware of. In terms of, sometimes people go with organic, fluoride free. That's up to, I guess, the individual to decide if that's suitable. But the fluoride often has been shown not to be harmful, and it's very beneficial for the teeth. So we do recommend ideally using a fluoride toothpaste.
And this particular toothpaste that you mentioned, is that what's counted as a natural toothpaste? Because I've seen some in the market recently, but I'm not exactly sure what they mean or what the difference is between that and your regular stock standard toothpaste.
Yeah, so there are some natural toothpaste. Some of them don't have fluoride. They have some other components within them. I guess they may not be harmful in itself, but again, sometimes they could be a bit more abrasive, so that's something to be aware of. But the lack of fluoride, I guess as dentists, we ideally prefer you to use a fluoride toothpaste. There's little that I know of as being the fluoride being harmful, and they're only a small amount that's in the toothpaste when you use fluoride, but that helps a lot with the teeth. So yeah, there is a lot of organic ones, and often they're not the ones that you usually don't see them in Woolworths and Coles, so people order from different places. So it's I guess, yeah, you have to sort of use your own judgment. But there's the website that has the ADA seal of approval, has a list of toothpaste that I guess the Australian Dental Association recommends that people can look up.
Right, I see. Now, Dr. Gamage, I'd like to talk a bit about flossing, which is usually the final step, or I don't know which comes first, mouthwash or flossing. It's one of the later steps in taking care of our teeth.
Yeah.
There's a few types of flosses, isn't there?
Yeah.
Would you be able to elaborate on which one is better and which one you'd recommend for people to use?
Yeah, so flossing, like the main one is a string that you sort of wrap around your finger and clean in between the teeth. It can be a bit hard to get in. It takes a bit of practice, especially the back teeth can be a bit challenging. So there are some other options. There's a floss that's attached to a little stick. There's pixter brushes that people can use in between, and water flosses are becoming very popular. So it depends. Some people really like water flosses, so I guess it's something people can consider if the other options are sort of not ideal for them, so they can give that a go. I think the main thing is that you're doing something to clean in between the teeth. It's always better than not doing it. So if something's not working, you can always see if there's another option that's better for you.
I see. And finally, I'd like to talk about mouthwashes as well while we're talking about, what we clean our teeth with.
Yeah.
There's alcohol-free mouthwashes and there's ones with alcohol. There's different brands as well. What's your take on mouthwashes?
Yeah, so there's different mouthwashes for different things. The typical ones have fluoride and they may have some alcohol, but you can get alcohol-free ones as well. The thing is, right after you brush, you don't actually need a mouthwash because you've already used some fluoride in the toothpaste, so it's not really going to give you any additional benefits. If you want to do something in between the day, but you don't want to sort of brush your teeth, that could be helpful, or you could use it sort of once in a while, like here and there. So I don't think the mouthwash part is an essential thing. It's an additional thing you could add. Like sometimes if people want it more for like, if they're going out and they want like sort of the breath to be a bit more fresh, they can use it for that. Sometimes some mouthwashes we use after surgery, so there's some special ones to sort of kill bacteria, reduce infection risk and things like that. So there are a few different ones. I think alcohol free is a good option. They do have actually some of them, like Listerine, can have up to 20% alcohol. I think Listerine may have an alcohol free option, but a lot of the companies have an alcohol free option. The issue is it's still not understood if like constant exposure from the mouthwash, having alcohol exposure on the tissues can be bad, because alcohol exposure actually on the oral tissues, if you're having it a lot, it is actually one of the more common factors for oral cancer. So like if someone's having like very strong alcohol, often like like vodka or scotch, regularly, they actually increase the risk of oral cancer a lot. So with the mouthwash, we don't know exactly if it increases risk, but we believe it may. So too much alcohol exposure is not good.
I learned so much today in this segment with you, Dr. Gamage. It does bring us to the end of our segment today, but I want to thank you for joining us and sharing your expertise on all things to do with taking care of your pearly whites. So hopefully see you again next time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Join us again next time at Glen Smiles Dental Clinic in Glen Waverley as we talk all things to do with your pearly whites.